Welcome. Happy New Year. I think this is our first recording of 2022. Yay! We wanted to bring a beautiful offering for the new year for everybody. Welcome, welcome. This is Joanna. Hi, like and subscribe. I always forget to say that. We're going to have some really great times this year. We're going to be a bit more intimate and connecting and talking. The teams and the guides were just inspiring me to bring a new version, a new layer, and a new unveiling of myself as we're all moving through the peeling of the onion in this beautiful human experience that our entire universe and omnipresent is moving through. And I know I get so excited about this experience, and I'm often saying, you know, I feel things at the omnipresent level, and I'm given these glimpses of experiences on really how profound this is. It's part of my role as a visionary, is to take the micro and macro and be able to explain it so that, you know, people can open themselves up to truly how benevolently threaded and sewn they are within all creation, and why they feel so intense sometimes as their gifts and their skills and their wisdoms are opening up, or the Akashic threading of all the timelines they belong to are opening up, and those soul fragments are being asked to come in to be healed and loved and made whole, are coming forward every month in your daily self-care, why we have those deep releases. And so part of the micro macro experiences, as we've talked about for quite a while, I think back last summer when I was given this, you know, my teams were saying, you know, make a summation of how far you've come and what you've really worked on. And the biggest thing that I had worked on was the attachments of the vibrational stories that I'd come from and I was born within, and how that made up my story, and what parts of that story did I just not want to be a part of anymore. And so many of it was the subjugations and the roles that we kind of tell ourselves that we've got to be, you know, kind of stuck and conformed within, when they're really not serving anybody in the process of the evolution of the soul, or the happiness and the joy of the community and the circle, let alone your own inner health and your own inner circle. Because micro, macro, within and without is above, so below. Whatever you're going on within, whatever battles you're going on within yourself, is absolutely being manifested on the outside experience. So as we're all awakening into the vibrational stories that we've all been told in all of our incarnations of 3D, and how we're all healing the 51% of that karma, you know, it takes for those of us that have come forward, and we've been doing this for so long, you know, some of us light workers. And I constantly have this inner discussion with my teams, usually in those moments where I'm looking at my story going, you know, why? what is this story really unfolding to me? And in those moments of frustration and friction, you know, and I'm kind of saying, you know, are there others moving through this experience in the depths that I am? And because I can feel it at so many different levels, it's oftentimes overwhelming and sometimes unbearable, you know, as being an empath and a crystal, and the many gifts that I come with. And now that my gifts are being heightened and turned up, it's super hard to navigate those energies. And it's so incredible that it's coming as a mere reflection to how many of the children have been moving through their entire lives, you know, many of these hybrid and crystalline children and rainbow children, and how they're so affected by the outer experiences, and how they just kind of turn their heart chakras off because it's just too challenging. And they end up, you know, going into their world of electronics because they don't have that same emotional and energetic entanglement and communion at those levels and those depths of really soulful spiritual experiences. But the awakening that we've just gone through in 2021, and with our whole global virus and everything that we've manifested, is to really flip that around and say, we've had it really all backwards and upside down. And that was the whole game of separation, was to know that the ego and the mental games and the mental programming and the mental fear, all of those games and those stories we tell ourselves really keep us in those patterns of habituation and patterns of limitation and fear and greed, because they're mental viruses. Limitation is a mental virus that's been taught to us over eons. And we come with it in our coding. We come with it within our lineage and our kosh and our family and our dogma and our societal energies. And all of those mental programs are now being broken apart. And why so many feel the intensity of the mental thought processes to the point of obsession and addiction is because they haven't yet understood and how to drop themselves into the emotional intuitive centers. And once the emotional intuitive centers start opening up and turning on, that's when the overwhelm occurs. And oftentimes people experience depression or breakdowns, because there's such an overwhelming unfolding of the emotional body that has been completely surrendering itself to the mental program. And through Ascension, one cannot remain in the mental experience, mental body. One can't. One can, but it will remain in a 3D experience, because that's where the mental programs reside, of fear and greed and separation. It's all a mental virus, mental limitations. So awakening bathes those mental limitations for you to really deal with those stories that we were told, which are all mental stories, because it's in the 3D experience of limitation, fear, and greed and separation. But once you awaken, you start shaking up all of those blockages and all of those energies that are in your physical, your mental, your causal body, all of the multidimensional bodies that we all come with. Start breaking up, and you start clearing them out through the releasing of those stories of limitation, those stories of mental processes. You really start living from this beautiful experience of spirit of who you are. And the spirit of who you are is emotional, and it's feeling, and it's the experience and the exploration and the expression of who you are. That's how the spirit survives. So when you're releasing all of the mental experiences, you now start to have to understand that to feed the body and how it used to be nourished through outer addictions, through outer getting, through outer service, how the spirit was fed before in those outer experiences of mental was to keep it numb in the external electronic use, oftentimes through sexual addictions or other addictions, because that's the reaching out to feed the within. So once all of those mental programs are released, and you start living from this beautiful experience of spirit, you now start living as this embodiment of re-nourishing and recycling and renewing your energy through the exploration and the expression and the experience of who you are as spirit. That's all you take with you. That's what the spirit has been aching for you to awaken to. How can I explore myself differently today? How can I express myself differently today? How can I experience myself differently today? And those are all the intuitiveness of the spirit. That's how we evolve. When you start paying attention to those 3 E's, then you start saying, wow, I've been really limiting myself, because I'm not just this mental experience that walks around in kind of robotic experience through limiting patterns and habits and belief patterns and notions and whatever they are. And everybody will be stepping out of them, when they're going through, if they choose to go through Ascension, because the spirit wants to explore itself fully, and to explore itself fully must break up those patterns and come forward with all of those limiting experiences of separation. I wasn't a part of that. I wasn't a part of that. I wasn't a part of that. When really you're manifesting it because you're saying you're not a part of it. And so it's just really allowing yourself, well, how can I explore this? How did I say I was not a part of it? How can I explore that? How did I say I was not a part of that? And so all of these daily explorations and daily expressions and daily experiences of who you are, many people that have been, I remember a beautiful, one of my favorite teachers a long time ago, Kuan Yin. She was Kuan Yin Amora. She had given a channel a long time ago about, the master saying, when you get to a certain level of mastery and self-actualization, there is never any solidity to any one belief. Be as flexible and adaptable to everything changing in all moments, because it's all spirit. And spirit will want you to explore all aspects of creation and not have one set belief that just stays so staunch that you're never ever changing or fluid or malleable. You're going to want to know that all paths are true and real, that all things are true and real, that all is spirit, and all moments you can be in that moment of expressing your acceptance of spirit. Expressing your acceptance of what is, because your acceptance of what is allows you to move through it and create in those grander experiences of you, but never to deny it or suppress it. So what we wanted to come forward with today, that many of us have been going through, because again, this is the new year, and really creating those summations to say, well, what was I creating? Did I fully explore myself or express myself or experience myself in the way that I could have? Did I allow others to explore themselves purely and freely and with liberation? Was I hindering their rights of free will? Was I hindering their rights of expressiveness? Was I putting them down or separating them in any way? So when you look at all of these experiences as the spirit and the soul, you then become this beautiful experience of, wow, I am a part of this one human consciousness, and I want to be as offering as the gate of opportunity, and to hold space, to know that all things are real and true, all things are spirit, and to allow your beliefs to shift and change, so that you're accepting all that spirit wants to bring you, so that you can allow it just to move through you as the vessel of love that you are, and to know that every single aspect of creation is perfect and real and true. And it's whatever any one experience needs in any one moment, to call it through its vessel of co-creatorhood, to process and navigate and transmute what it needs to. Each and every one of us are cells of mutable and malleable fluid of energy. And to stay staunch and rigid in any one belief will stay stagnant and stuck. And that's when a whole bunch of imbalances occur, because we're vessels that are meant to have spirit and source flow through us. When you understand the flow and the movement of source energy of creation of reality, then you just allow all things to be real and true. You can choose then to navigate through what will serve you in any one moment, what to entangle with and engage with. And that is when you set up those vibrational boundaries, when you start mastering yourself as, okay, well, that feels comfortable, that doesn't. We're here to navigate as fully and masterfully with what feels right for us within. And that's what's been broken down with all these mental programs, because it's torn apart those aspects of what we were born with, the pure perfection of who we are as self-beings of divine mastery. When we're born, we know we're perfect. That's why the experience of birth is so miraculous, and every woman that's ever given birth knows that. It's a miracle for the billions of energies of the DNA to even thread together in the way that God and you inspire it in the unique story that you do with spirit. In every way that you do, you come here choosing your parents, your family, the various snapshots that you're seeing and you're shown before you even get here of the things you're going to move through, the things you're going to navigate because you know you can. Then you got to navigate the densities of the stories that you've been told and taught. And then you're being even bathed and swarmed by society about how separate you are and how fearful everything is and how disengaged everyone is at the heart level. And you're just swarmed in this experience of impossibility most often. That's how many of us empaths feel, how most children feel, is the impossibility to transcend the amount of limitations that we've placed upon ourselves over eons of fear and greed that we've all chosen to be a part of. And when we're taking all the blame and the shame out of it, it's like, okay, well, how can we navigate this? How can we take the biggest of the messes and make the best out of it? Because that's how you navigate into full acceptance of all experiences. Accept the mess, accept all that is the, how did this happen? What is, accept it. Then you get to say, well, now what can we make out of it? How can we make the best out of the best out of it? Because it is a human experience and it's meant to be honored in the blessedness of what it was offering and be that malleable and mutable experience so that you're not denying yourself or separating yourself from the blessing that's hidden right within it. All of those dense, most unfavorable stories that we've all experienced. And some of them, most people can't even tell because they hold themselves in these limitations of the energies and the stories that held them in these societal roles and definitions and the masks that people wear and hiding behind the masks because they only want to show certain versions of themselves for lack of belonging or lack of value or lack of disappointment of others or disappointment of a society that thinks they're being judged, when really it's only about the own self-acceptance and the stories that we build around those illusions. And they're really all false because those stories came to us from lineages. Those stories came to us from dogma. Those stories came to us from societies that were broken in separation. So really, there's nothing to fear. Shake it all up, tear it all out, look at the mess and own and claim it. And then start sharing it and start writing it. How can you share it and make it better? How can you share it and make it whatever that mess is? Face it and say, I have a community somewhere and I'm going to reach out and I'm going to start sharing to see how we can make this work for the collective. Because you're not the only one that's going through a mess. You're not the only one that's facing, You're not the only one that's facing, okay, well, this is a big chaos. What now? And live with that excitement of that courageous experience of your story being a part of the human experience that as they were showing, my teams are saying to me, it's not a story to be laughed at. The human experience is a profound experience. We have no idea. And I say this just about every one of my shows. The human experience is not to be laughed at. It's one of the most profound evolutionary choices that a soul can make. And only the most brave and the most courageous, come forward and say, whatever I am faced with, Spirit, I will get up and I will try my best and I will bring light to the darkest. And even, over the many years, these last 4 or 5 years have been so challenging because there's been so much play upon my energies and my fields because of all the spell work and the black magic and the agendas that others had for me to, squash my voice and to stay quiet and not be the fullest expression of my own personal experience and not to go about my own free will. It's been the toughest and most challenging experience that I wouldn't wish on anybody because the gifts and the energies that I came with it was like ripping my entire insides out, and you know, throwing it up in the air and having it mashed all about. And it was the most excruciating experience that I would never wish on anybody. The damage that was done to me on a multidimensional level. And those experiences are a part of my everyday story for me to heal and for me to accept. Because there's a new level of acceptance. Every layer of skin that I take off and every layer of onion that you unveil about the reality of who you are and the most genuine, authentic version of who you are. Every veil of who you are had stories and imprints in them. You know, it's just like an infinite layer. You know, we are infinite layers of light. We're infinite layers. And although the trauma, you know, I experienced PTSD, and the layers of trauma that happen, and every time I unveil a layer of who I am at an authentic, genuine level, there's that other layer of that trauma that needs to be dealt with and healed, because that trauma goes at a multidimensional level. And moving through those experiences, there's a new level of acceptance. There's a new level of self-knowing and self-honoring and self-valuing to the deepest levels, because there's parts of it that you just can't accept. You know, there's parts of you in all the stories that we've come with to make ourselves feel safe and valued and loved and accepted. You know, part of my story was divine mother and a divine feminine. You know, how was I to have been a part of something so, you know, I don't even have words to put into what I experienced. I don't have words for it. It affected me at a soul level, multidimensional level, that I can't put words into. And there was many beings and people involved in the breaking apart of me. And my teams have assured me that they were many contracts to serve many different purposes, and agreements at a soul level I did. Some of what had occurred had gone too far and was not meant to have gone as far as it did. Mistakes were made and energies were occurred, and at a multidimensional level, and timelines were skewed, and many things that occurred similar to other timelines, like the time shift of many things. And it allowed everybody in creation, everybody in the universe, to kind of wake up and say, wow, let's really look at, you know, what's going on, and really take part in the supporting of one another, and the healing of one another, and the honoring of one another's story, and how separation truly damages creation, the story of separation, and why when things like that occur, it is because of the taking and the separation, that the beliefs that were held at that level to cause such pain and damage were truly at the story of self-value and self-belonging and self-worth, and the fears that would make people do what they do to harm anybody in a multidimensional way, whether it's through energy work, mental manipulation, emotional manipulation, physical manipulation, physical weapons, or anything like that. Those are all weapons of separation, because it's like there's such an innate need to belong, to feel valued, to get or take what they think others have, the lack of abundance that some feel, to project those energies and those pains and those harms to others. And all of those can be resolved by all the teachings that we've offered about the inner exploration, the expression, the experience of who we are as spirit, because there's such that separation from spirit within. And it makes, you know, similar experiences like twin flames and soul counterparts, and all of those things, that they have to deal with the codependency wounds, and you have to deal with the separation and the no value of self wounds. And all of those things have to be dealt with. And some of them are quite traumatic, because there's so many wounds that people have within about their own separation issues and the vibrational stories that they've been told, and the abuses that happened in their own homes, that they don't even know they're there, but they play out in relationships and they tear people apart. And so there's so much healing in a collective that's required. And if we're not sharing our own stories of the pains and the traumas and how we move through them in positive expectation and anticipation, even when you're on the floor and thinking that, you know, nobody's going to understand your story, how are people going to help you when you can't even, as a teacher and a healer and a leader of the teachers, how are they going to, you know, how is that going to affect those that are truly going through it that don't have those skills. And so those stories need to come forward and be faced with bravery and courage, and share it and ask for your community to come forward, because they will. And so part of my sharing my story was that the depths of things that had occurred to me were many different things on many different reasons, and I'm accepting different parts of it, the more layers that I'm peeling away of myself, and the self-acceptance of who I am. Because on every level of experience, we must understand, on every level of experience, there is always the equal opportunity of who you discover yourself to be, for the acceptance of yourself. So even though they might seem as the most challenging, traumatic, even harmful experiences, there's still aspects of the other aspects of you that must be accepted. And so part of my story was, you know, here I'm to be this benevolent healer and leader and teacher of using the intuition and using the divine gifts. And how could I have been a part of something that went so wrong, you know, and how could I, you know, I was like this, you know, trying to climb out of this, you know, this incredible, this pit that I had somehow got sucked into, this black magic pit, and, you know, did everything in my viable power by myself to get out of the constant stream of black magic and energy work that was done on me. And how I made it out alive, I'm not sure. It was only unto my spirit guides and my ancestors and all of the guides that helped me. But how was I, as a leader and a teacher and the divine feminine and intuitive, you know, going to come forward and say, well, how is this even my story when I'm supposed to be this purveyor of, you know, using your intuition and coming forward and allowing your story to be heard and honored in a way, and courageous in a way that will help others and allow them their highest voice of courage. And how did they even get there? I mean, what the heck is that? What kind of a messy story is that? And how do I accept that? How do I accept my co-creation in that? And why was that even mine? You know, where did this come from? You know, I was out there doing my best, and all of a sudden, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Here you go. Ended up in a ditch, losing everything. You know, it ripped me apart in more ways that I could count. The manipulations and the games that others thought were so funny. And that playing on who I was as a divine person made me question everything about me, about why was I, you know, all of those things that you go into, you know, when you have been traumatized, you know, you go into those victimization stories to try and resolve the core wound. And so there was a lot of facing all of the mess, facing the mess time and time again, until you get to the core and say, I don't know what else I can face, spirit. You know, you just surrender it to spirit and say, I've done what I can and I forgive everybody. And accept it every day. And every day you accept your part to be more in tune with who you are through your own explorations and expressions and experiences of you. The more pure you are with your expression and exploration of you, the more you're standing in your power and absolutely divert yourself and navigate around those experiences where you absolutely know that doesn't feel good. It's not right. And trust yourself over all else. And my intuition was always right. My intuition had told me, and my teams were telling me for quite some time, that there was much going on behind the scenes that were not coming forward. There was much going on behind the scenes that were being, you know, deceived and you know, and manipulated. And I did my very best to put on the highest level of protection and do all that I could, and still got damaged in ways that are going to take years to repair. And not only the mental and the psychological, you know, experiences that I see and I can feel and I can experience, but they're not anymore victim energies anymore. It's like, wow, this story has to be told because I'm a brave soul. And that takes a lot to accept, because there was a lot there that thought, I wanted to be, I placed that story and vibration on myself, that I wanted to be this person that others could look up to. And I felt like I totally failed. I failed myself and I failed my kids. Because how did I let everything that I taught, from viewing it and seeing it and being sent these vibrations within creation, and seeing the stories in our social communities and seeing the stories on histories and seeing the stories that were left out of histories. And there it was in my own life. And how could I have not fixed it sooner? How could I have not seen it coming? How could I have not listened to my guides sooner? How could I have not, all of those questions you go into when you're not seeing the courage of the story. And it's like, wow, you got yourself through it. Not many could have. And so there was many times on my path, and I just thank everybody that I see every day, because I know who you are in your stories and how much you suffer. And those that have, sent me the emails and the little texts that you've sent saying that your families have gone through other similar experiences through control and subjugation, that your families have suffered, and to know that your stories are courageous, and to continue getting up every day, exploring who you are as spirit, experiencing who you are as spirit, and knowing that you can navigate anything that feels dark and dense and messy and make the best out of it. And make it as a lesson, make it as a tool for your own story to come forward and say, wow, I've got to be courageous and bold. If I manifested this, I can manifest something really powerful and really, really blessed. And so how can you make that mess really something beautiful and make it something tangible for others to tap into and say, wow, that happened to me too. How did you get through it? Let's share. Because that's what these stories are all about. They're meant to be courageous stories of sharing, courageous stories coming forward and feeling one another's healing in that. Because there's so often that I said to only a couple of people, and some of you that have watched, is when you're placed again as one of the front lines, and we're doing so much for divine feminine, and we're coming against so many blocks of subjugation and healing that we've come across for eons, and many of our ancestors didn't make it. Many of our ancestors couldn't tell the stories that we're able to tell right now. That's why this time in our evolution is so profound, and we just have no idea how profound this time is, because we've got so much help and so much energetic support to come forward as a unified collective and say we really desire more for ourselves. We really want our courageous stories to be heard, how we broke subjugation, how we broke limitation, how we broke fear, how we broke our addictions, how we broke abuse, how we broke trauma, how we broke dysfunction. All of those things are the most steepest in steeped density and mess that we've created over eons. That's how we just don't understand how powerful this is. And we sometimes get lost in what's right before us, that we can't really see the profundity of how much we're changing creation. And I said to my closest friends, I said, sometimes these stories are so profound, and what is offered in our social collective just cannot help in what my certain story, my specific story. And I'm the adult version of what so many children, millions and billions of children, have experienced. I'm the adult version of it. And there's billions of children that require this type of multidimensional healing and help. For us to hand down a planet that is in equal generosity of our knowing that we're here going to break this density. We're going to break these codes of limitation and fear for our kids, because we want to hand them down a planet that's rich in joy and liberation and freedom, so that they don't have to go through the steepest, dense stories that were so painful and traumatic, that they don't have that karma to clear. And we pass them a planet that's pure of karma, just free of it, free of all the karma that we've created through such dense separation of us and them, and winning and losing, and better and not better, and it just perpetuates the mental damage that the ego wants to continually swim in, and it just continues to create karma and cycles of karma and cycles of losing, because everyone loses in those cycles. Everyone does, because your spirit is touched at a soul level. What happened to me was a soul wound. It damaged all parts of my soul, not just my physical body and the pains and the healing that my body is deep healing in sleep time, in the different various healings that I go through, and how it's healed, and the healing that it takes is a multidimensional experience. But so back to what we were saying, is that the collective, it's a multidimensional experience, and there's not much in the collective that approaches these things at a multidimensional level. There's nothing being offered. The multidimensional healing that is required for You know, I experience PTSD. And when I go into those experiences of trauma, there's nothing at a multidimensional level that is dealing with that, because they don't understand timeline, they don't understand akashic wounds, they don't understand, you know, the things that are being done, you know, were being done, they're not being done anymore. You know, the black magic and all of those experiences for control and greed, and, you know, all of those you know, band-aids of greed and control, because that's all they are. They're just band-aids. They're actions. Band-aids are little actions that you think can solve that immediate problem of not feeling good enough, not having enough, trying to squash other people, whatever it is that is done through those types of experiences. They're all valid and true, but at some point that band-aid will come off and you have to deal with the wounds of why you've created it, because those spells come right back. Those energies come right back. The cycles come right back, and you got to deal with it. You cannot not deal with it. Spirit won't allow it. It's the law of return, law of one. Whatever the law of one is, the law of one is. And then it will be that tearing off that layer and say, okay, what's the mess? How did I create that? And every single person that is involved in those experiences has to do their own layering, layer by layer. What part did I play? What part was I responsible for? How can I serve this in my own self-acceptance? How can I love myself more so that this doesn't happen again? How can I pay attention to my intuition? How can I love my body and myself so that I'm honoring myself and valuing myself and would never get involved with that stuff? Right? So it's all the layering and going through all of those experiences, whether it's addictions, whether it's, and addictions come in so many different forms. These are the multidimensional problems and issues and experiences and the masks that are veiled by every single family on our planet. And we don't have systems to support any of it. We just don't. We never did, right? Because they're left in 3D separation. And that's not how you heal multidimensional wounds. You can't heal multidimensional wounds with 3D therapy. You just can't. It's an assistant tool, but you can't heal it. It's got you gotta perceive everything as multidimensional, because we are. Those are multidimensional wounds. When you are going through your daily self-care and you're intimate with your ascension cycle and you've got your monthly release, you know that your monthly releases happen, say, on a new moon or full moon, or you're going through, you know, a lot of family transitioning, a lot of family upheaval, you know that you're going to have a lot of emotional stuff. So that daily self-care is mandatory. And if it's not, you're going to be going through the tower one after tower one after tower one until Spirit says, are you going to make your self-care important and value? Are you going to value yourself? Because that's what it comes down to. Every experience and every story you tell yourself is about your self-value, returning it all back to you and releasing all of the stories through which you gave your power away, which you gave your importance away, which you gave your value away, which it was taken from you by whatever experiences that you chose to take on, whether it was through abuse or molestation or physical abuse or dysfunction or alcoholism, whatever was in your tribe of stories to peel back and resolve. Whatever it was, because we all have them. We have them all. All of us have them. And any of those vibrational stories are now here for you to resolve on a cyclical basis until you've cleared 51% of that karma. Whatever choices that you've created must be cleared. Go to the center of it. What did I choose that for? Why did I choose that? Let's peel that back and say, I'm going to love myself now. This is my new story. And reaffirm in that higher experience of expression, experience, and exploration of who you are as spirit. I don't want to experience that anymore. I want to experience this, and redefine it and recreate. That's the healing process. And it's done at a multidimensional level, because once you start awakening to these gifts, you're going to be calling in those timelines from Orion. You're going to be calling in those timelines from Sirius. You're going to be calling in those timelines from Lyra, in the various timelines of separation where they did use many different types of control, mental and emotional and spiritual, and all of those experiences that bring up really deep-seated wounds. And as the Arcturians were saying, that many of the injustices, and this is where some of my trauma came from, is some of the injustices and the wounding that had occurred was from many different timelines of the multiverse, and many of the infractions that had occurred through various celestial experiences and the traumas to the human experience and to the human timeline. But now that those celestial that were involved in those traumas are now coming forward to assist in the human healing of these deep traumas, and why I was chosen as, you know, my higher self and my soul. Because I have the expertise and the mysticism to understand it, to heal it at that level, you know, and to know that I was being assisted by many, I'm still being assisted by many beings in the healing of what had occurred, because they were to, obviously and always, the only way to heal it is through forgiveness. To forgive those in human form that play the other roles in other timelines and other dimensions and other bodies that are going through the same issues of control and separation, which are multidimensionally, galactically, universally steeped in many different planets for eons. It's not just an earthly thing, but we're in earthly bodies experiencing an earthly experience, and it is where we create the most capability to create the catalyst for ascension. This is why we come here to the density that we do, because it is the biggest rubber band effect where we get to shoot out the farthest. So that's why when you forgive somebody, sends ripples through the whole creator universe. And that's why some of the traumas can take years to heal, you know, and some of us take those on for our kosh, for our lineage, for our family. And, you know, your family might never ever understand the amount of light and the healing and the transmuting that you do on behalf of your family, on behalf of the collective. But that's up for you in spirit. That's you don't need any accolades for it. But know that you do have communities that you can reach out to, and ours is one of them. Because if you're an empath, and if you're a crystal child, and you're anybody that's going through an awakening, and you're releasing these deep experiences of trauma and abuse, and you have those victim experiences, you have to face it with courage, because it's the only way you can face it. And know that your story is courageous. Know that it's linked to many, many timelines. It's linked to many, many wounds within the inner child that need you to come forward and make that inner child feel safe and loved and accepted and valued and precious. And that's the mothering and the fathering that each of us have to do. That's the courageous experience. And some are, you know, as we've all, I know, so many times, some of you just think, I don't know, spirit, I don't know, am I strong enough? Because I can't be the mother and the father when there's nobody, as we said earlier, there was nobody counseling and giving me any help. There's been nobody on my ride with me, nobody. So my girlfriend said to me one day, she goes, who counsels you? Like, who do you get? You're giving all this help to other people, and you're helping people with so many deep traumas. Who helps you? And I said, well, nobody. I got God, me and spirit. Nobody's held my hand on any of this. And it's been a tough freaking ride. Tough freaking ride. And spirit says, you have no idea how strong you are. You have no idea. So this is really exciting, though. The exciting part is that we get to come forward and we get to create a beautiful, incredible planet where we get to understand separation on all vibrational threads, on every grain of sand that we have on our planet. We got to say, wow, I know this, and I can see it from all angles, from all levels, from all experiences, and I'm going to be there to reach out for those that are also going through things that they feel are just so unbearable. And wow, if this is a mess and if this is a challenge, I know I've got to be brave and courageous to get through it, because it's been something within my lineage. It's been something within my family that I said, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this for my ancestors. I'm gonna do this for my kids, so they don't ever have to walk around in stories of black magic. So they don't ever have to feel like they're less than, just to have somebody control their story for them, and somebody to say that they're less than, and they're projecting such ill will and limitation upon their life and upon their potential. And really come forward with the bravery and the courage that every story deserves. Every story deserves it. Every story deserves your authenticity to say, there's nothing to laugh at here, and there's nothing to feel ashamed of. These are the human things and the stories that we've made a mess over eons. And now it's time for us to sort it out. And whether you're intuitive and you think that, wow, how could I have made, how could I have not seen that? How could I have not found a way out? How could I have not navigated around this sooner to have so much, damage done? And it's just, you just look back and say, wow, I have no idea. No idea. No idea. but I'm here, and I'm here to help. And your story is courageous, and it's meant to be shared, and it's meant to be honored, and it's meant to be valued, and it's meant to be given the breath of life that you're giving it. Right? You're not a failure. You're ready to take whatever mess is in front of you and to make it right, to pull it apart bit by bit by bit by bit and be honest with it, face it and accept it. And so they were saying your full acceptance is required in every moment, so that you don't hold judgment on any other. You don't hold judgment on yourself about having to do it in any different way. I remember the Pleiadians saying to me years and years ago, they were saying to me in this conversation I had with them, and I'd mentioned something 2 or 3 times, and they had said, you know, Joanna, you've mentioned that 2 or 3 times. Do you not hear yourself on why you mentioned that so many times? And they're saying it's like you're not giving yourself credit for making the highest and the best decision that you thought you had at that time. So own it and accept that was the best decision that you made for your family at that time. It's always perfect. You at no level put any malintention in any way. You made that decision from your highest and your best, what was best for the family at that time. And so honor yourself for that. You're looking right over that, right? But that's what we do. I held myself in these stories of being an empath and a divine feminine and a teacher and a healer and a leader. Well, how could I be doing all that when all of this negative, dark, intuitive stuff happened to me on over and over and over years? It just damaged me, completely damaged me. And how did I let that happen? I felt I failed myself. I failed everybody. That was a huge cross for me to bear. And spirit is just like, accept it. We learned so much. We learned so much as a universe from this. And there was many beings from many universes that had done a lot of instigation and damage to the human race that are now involved in healing all of it. Because there's many beings and many experiences involved, and we're all coming together. And this is what's really exciting too, that we just don't see and we don't get, but I'm here to show you and tell you through my own experiences and how wonderful this is, this creative expression of oneness, is that now all of these beings and all of these experiences are now threading oneness to say, wow, that's your story. We were a part of it. We were a part of this end of it. You were a part of that end of it. Now let's co-create some really good oneness. We're all helping each other at a multiverse level, and spirit and the heavens and all of these beings of healing are in charge of it. So it's micro, macro, what you go through and what you think is not important, what you think you failed at, what you think you've made a mess of. Own it as a courageous story of the human experience that's really catapulting through all benevolent experiences of learning how to reclaim all that you are as the powerful experience and the expression and the exploration of who you are as spirit, and own your power of your voice. Own the power of who you are as your new choice. To say that I'm no longer going to be in dysfunctional situations of neglect and abuse and dysfunction. I'm no longer going to not listen to my intuition. I'm no longer going to entangle with energies of deceit, deceit and manipulation. And that's how you strengthen your intuitions. That's how you strengthen your knowingness of energy and navigation. And my teams are saying, well, if you didn't go through that, would you know now how to not navigate it? So it always serves, no matter how your situation appears, it will always, always, always serve you. You couldn't go forward and teach others how to navigate the intricacies and the subtleties of deceit if you had not experienced every experience of it. And how to listen to those red flags and how to act on them sooner, better, with wiser experience, right? When you want better for yourself, you make better choices. When you love yourself more, when you own yourself more, when you value yourself more, you make better choices. You end up listening to who you are within yourself, and you end up letting go of all those stories that placed you in subjugation of what you thought your roles were, what you thought made a good mother, what you thought made a good empath, what you thought made a good healer, and all the stories that we stick ourselves within, and then others project onto us, what's right or wrong, because they're just mental manipulations, how you stay in the mental game, right? And you just say, well, okay, but I'm going to be over here now with being in the whole feeling game because I know who I am and I'm one with spirit. When you walk with spirit, everything just becomes a false illusion. It's not there anymore, because that heart vibration, it exceeds all the mental experiences, and they don't exist. They just don't exist, because the mental realm and this intuitive spirited realm are two different realms. They can't connect. And so that's why we're going right now. That's the difference between the 3D and the 5D. It's the harmonization of all that you are. not overpowering the mental or any other. It's a full harmony of male and female and divine sacred child. And living in the joy as the sacred child through healing all of those wounds of separation. When the child did not feel loved, when the child did not feel belonging, when the child did not feel as if they were valued, and they were placed within limiting, subjugated stories of going outside for the value, going outside for their importance, going outside for the love and affection. Because it's never outside, it's always in. And that's where it begins. So love yourself in the honor of your stories. Be courageous in who you are and own your stories as a courageous human experience. And you're not failing through anything. You can't not fail at a human experience. You can't. You'll learn and you'll move through what you need to move through, however many times it takes. You're gonna get and you're going to receive exactly what you need to learn the lesson that your soul wants you to learn and explore within. And you're a profound soul to be here, because not all beings could make it. Not all beings could do it. But we are here to be the lessons of the examples, so that we pass over a planet of great generosity and grace through our soul's healing, through our soul's courageous, benevolent act to face all things and to not belittle or demean ourselves in our trying and in our exploration and in our seemingly failures, which there are none, to our children, that they don't have to clear any of our karma that we just chose to give up on. Because I'll tell you so many times, but you get through it because spirit is 100%. You walk with the heavens. You walk with it. Own that. Like Jesus said, fear not. Walk with me. You get to alter creation through your knowingness of who you are as spirit. Who are you? Are you the healing of thy name? Heal thy name. So you're not passing it to your children to heal their name. They're going to come forward and say, I'm going to explore. I'm going to create. I'm going to master this. I'm going to master this. They're not healing any of our garbage. We're going to do it. We're going to do it, and we're going to say, here is the planet of grace. Here is the planet of goodwill. Here is the planet of good becoming and good belonging, where everyone belongs and everyone is safe and everyone is sacred and everyone is an intuitive ambassador and everyone is the ambassador of their own spirited voice of belonging. And each and every person, without question, regardless of color, regardless of creed, regardless of sexual preference, regardless of who they are in their bodily form, every single person is held important and valued. Every single person, and may their voices sing. Every divine feminine is worthy of their voice, because each and every person on this planet has been divine feminine before. We deserve our voices, and we deserve to come forward as the teachers and the healers and the leaders. And each of us have beautiful, courageous stories that we've moved through and navigated on our own by ourselves. In the dark. You've navigated such darkness by yourself. So stand up and be proud. Not many could do it, but you can. And so here's the channel that they gave me. It was just so touching. So this whole experience is like, get ready for 2022. It's a powerful year, and you just own yourself. Claim yourself as a beautiful, courageous story of spirit, because you are. You are the expression and the representation of the heavens. And you're the one that is the heaven upon earth. You are the story of heaven upon earth. So how may you create the heavens? How may you be the new version of you? How may you be the new story of you? How may you be the new courageous being of you? And move through and face every challenge and sort out the mess. Sort it out one by one by one. Sort it out and say, wow, I must have been really courageous to choose this, because now I get to choose this. I get to feel this. I get to explore this. I get to experience this. And this is who I am as the expression of spirit. And I'm not apologizing, and I'm not going away. I will be here for a very long time. I will be unapologetic. I will be whimsical. I will sing to the heavens, and I will create greatness on this earth. That's who I am. And I love everybody. And I forgive everybody that was involved in every single one of my experiences, because it was needed to bring me exactly where I am. And I think I'm pretty fucking special. And so are you. So own it and claim it and never feel like you failed, because you just can't. God will pick you up every time, and God will say, you are my sacred child. Don't cry. You are so sacred and I adore you. Now get up. We got stuff to create. And you're going to say, yes, Father. Yes, Mother. I know I can do this. I know I can do this. I want to be an inspiration. I've been on my knees so many times. So many times. And there's been nobody. And the thing about a mother, and you all know this, the thing about a mother, think about an intuitive mother, the thing about an empathic mother, the thing about a mother that is on her own, she'll do anything in her power to keep any of the pains of the world as her world is crumbling from her children from seeing it. because she absolutely knows that she doesn't want any of that pain hitting their precious little hearts. That's a mother. And that's why each and every one of us are here, because the mother absolutely knows. The mother absolutely knows that in the divine feminine, the greatest and most profound healing will occur across all heavens. And for the very first time in all human history, and I say it and I speak it in this day, I speak it on this day, and it is absolute for the heavens of the holy creators, of the mother and the father, and all heavens in between. This day it is spoken that the divine feminine be the very first time, the very first sentence, and the very first word spoken, that divine feminine and the sacred child and all beings there and to, in between and of, beginning and end, all things in between, are equal in the creational story, and be no one left out. No animal, no wildlife, no ocean, no water, no air, no nothing be left out of the creational story, for it is unto the first sentence all inclusive as the one. And I say it this day, and it will be backed up by the heavens, as I've come from many times before speaking this of truth, that we are here for a magical ride. And when are we going to step up and be in glorious celebration of who we each are? That your story counts, your story is important, and be of the heavens. Walk as the heavens. You are the representation of the heavens, so speak proud in who you are. When you say your name, say it with pride, for the heavens have named you. Claim who you are. Claim your life, claim your dream, for nobody else can do it. You wouldn't want anyone to do it. You wouldn't want anyone to say, this is who you are. Make no one define you. That's you and God, you and spirit, you and source. Make your life real. Start creating, start painting, start singing, start walking with the vibration of who you are. And know that as you walk, you face it, and you face it head on, and you say, okay, now what? Now what are we going to do with this? Because if it's not me, it's millions of other people that are going through the same dysfunctional, the same mishap patterns, the same abuse, the same neglect, the same all that is not working. I'm not the only one. So let's pick ourselves up. Let's start making communities of healing and sharing. Let's start making ourselves healing communities where we're actually reaching out. We're actually talking about truth. We're actually speaking about the dysfunction. We're actually speaking about what goes on for the absolute highest healing for a multidimensional new world, because we are, and we're never going back. Our world is changing, dear lighter ones. We're no longer 3D. We are stepping into multidimensional reality. So what are we going to do? And that multidimensionality requires our oneness. It requires our healing. It requires our coming together and say, wow, your story was profound. How can we create something out of it? When you can create something from nothing, from something from a mess, you know you're a master and you're meant to be here. So pick yourself up. You got this. And make something. Make something. Because you can. Because spirit is with you, threaded, always. That is the infinite and eternal journey. That is the eternal life. That is always truth. It is a truth of the universe. And I speak it. And I'm going to keep speaking it. That's why I'm here. And so in this, dear lighter ones, I share my personal journeys with you, and they haven't been easy. And there's no victim in it at all. I'm standing proud to say, wow, what a ride. And I can help a lot of people. Click on our links below. I'm here. I love you. And so here's the channel from them for your brave and courageous story of being human. And make no mistake about it, this is going to be the life-changing year for everybody. And just put your hearts put your hearts open into the universe, and put your hand and just intention, and just allow yourself to open up your pillar of light and allow yourself to be one with the universe in this moment. And call unto the highest heavens. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Spirit of all creation. We allow ourselves to be led by the highest guidance of who we are as Spirit. We're now changing our perspectives, that we are all one, and all of our stories are threaded and encapsulated with one another, and how we come forward in the most authentic version of who we are, to share who we are, to uplift one another and encourage one another in our sights and in our journeys in oneness and in love. For it's in this that we are each making heaven upon earth and creating a kinder and gentler world, through which we become the future leaders, through which never pain, never subjugation, limitation, or fear stories ever put us in ill health, through which these stories never make us feel less than or lack of, that we don't belong, and we are separate from all that is perfect, for we are and always have been. May we find leaders, and may we call forward leaders that are all in unity and love and oneness, so that we never damage our planet or another, and that never a body be traded, and that never a body be harmed. For we are all perfect in the light of the Holy Creator that we were all born within. We thank everyone in kindness and in joy that we are threading together in this oneness experience, for the courageous and the bold and the brave. Your stories matter. Your humans, so this is from the councils of light that I channeled, and I was asking them, why am I coming forward in this story today? Spirit, give me some inspiration. As I was reflecting and doing summations on my story and the beautiful process of ascension and how it really wakes us up to who we are and really being okay with, yeah, I can let this story go. You really like face it. You're no longer in fear anymore. Yeah, I got this. Anything that comes forward, meet it with excitement, meet it with anticipation. Never let anything bring you fear. If you're creating the most messiest mess, absolutely face, because you've got that biggest amount of equal opportunity, gumption and gusto to say, I'm going to face this. I'm going to make something amazing out of this. If I made this big mess, wow, look what I can make. And you share it with others. That's how you change creation. That's how you evolve. That's how your soul heals karma. You've made a big mess. Make no mistake, if you've got equal karma clearing, that you can create something really beautiful out of it. And that's how you heal. That's how you heal you. That's how you heal your lineage. That's how you heal karma that you're not going to pass on to your kids. Make something beautiful out of it. And own it. Claim it. Claim it. That's what your soul is waiting for. Your soul is waiting for you to make whatever mess was made. Tidy it up, make it nice. And allow everyone their free will. Allow everyone their free will in their own story, because your story is not theirs. Your expectation of what is integrity is not theirs. So be okay with it and release them. Let them go. Be okay with letting people go. Be okay with saying goodbye. Be okay with saying, that's not my vibration anymore, but this is, and I'm here to show you the way. And if you don't want to come, that's fine, but I'm still going to be my way. And that is sovereignty, where you're living, expressing, and divining your own path for you, and following and being of conformity to nobody and no thing. You are sovereign with spirit, and spirit's got your plan. So live it. That is sovereignty, my friends, and you face it. Face it with the courage of who you are, because you're here. You clicked on this video because you knew absolutely that you're meant to be here. You are a destiny meant to unfold. And whatever spirit takes you on, whatever path that is, spirit's got the answers. You'll know. You'll know probably later down the line. You never know in the moment. You will know down the line where you say, wow, I know why that served me. Wow, that's the greatest amount of self-acceptance. I had to go through radical self-acceptance. Holy cow. Why was I holding that back from myself? And spirit said to me the other day, you've got to have cross-cultural connections. You can't hold nothing apart from you. That's part of your culture. You came from that. That's part of your culture. You got to accept it, own it, be real with it. So that you're going to be able to talk to every person in between, all cultures, all nationalities, all vibrations. They're all you. Accept everything. It's you. Accept it all. There's no separation. It's all you. Whatever fractal of energy that was ever wounded, whatever judgment that you've held on any part of your soul is going to come forward and face you. And the more separation, the more pushing away that you do, the more it will come and face you. The more it will come and face you, the more it will come and face you, the more you resist it. So face it, accept it, and make something beautiful out of it. That's what God gives you. That's how God says, you're a master. That's why you're here. Why do you think I put you in the most challenging experiences, with the most challenging people, with the most challenging beings? Because you knew that you could face it. And you could say, wow, I've been through this before 10 times. I've ascended 10 times on other planets. I got this. What do you got for me, God? Bring it. And I am divine feminine, and I will speak about it, and I'm not going to be quiet. So get used to it, because that's who I am, and I'm going to own who I am. And those that don't like it can turn off the video. Turn off the video. I am who I am. I'm not going to change. This is me. This is me, people. I'm damn proud. You want your kids to be proud? Start being proud. Your human experience is not to be laughed at or ashamed of. For in your journey, you have to be the most bold and strong in character. The building of the character, the building of oneself, and the choices that you all choose. It is a soul and a spiritual experience. You are navigating to evolve. That's why we navigate energy, so that we can say, that feels good, that doesn't feel good, that feels good, that doesn't feel good, that feels good, that doesn't feel good. This is who I am today. Wow, I want to express myself in this way today. I own myself in this way. I accept myself as whimsical today. I accept myself as powerful today. I accept that. I express that. I experience myself as full. I want to experience myself as powerful. I want to experience myself as maybe a moment of feeling like I failed, but I'm just seeing it from a new perspective now. That wasn't failure. That's really taking something that was really messy and making it something great. Do you see what I'm saying? You can take every experience and say, I'm going to experience myself different in this perspective because I choose to see myself differently in this perspective. You can pivot from any direction you want to, and because you get to. That's how infinite you are. Make nothing small of you. There's nothing small of you. Take any experience, say, I can do it from whatever perspective I want. I will pivot. I will pivot again and again and again. Tomorrow I'm going to see it from 10 different angles because I can. That's mastery. That is mastery, dear ones. Take anything that anybody hands you and says, yes, I can pivot with this a million different directions. I can make something from nothing. I know who I am. I got God with me. I'm a genius inventor. Bring it to me. What do you got? Let's align it with 5D. That's what I do. Bring me something. Let's align it with 5D. What do you got? Bring me something. Let's align it with 5D. That's making something from nothing, and you know you can. Nothing can stop you. Nothing is a mess. Get up and clear it out. Let's make something from nothing. You got that. This is a bold, bold, bold experience, and you got this. You are here because of that. You are. We are navigating to evolve. We want to come out of that stuckness. We want to come out of the mess. We don't want to stay in mess. Why would we want to stay in mess? Why would we want to stay in levitation? Why would we want to stay in sickness and illness? We don't. We know that we are of light. We know that we have commandment of ourselves. We know that we have commandment of youthfulness. We know that we have commandment of our infinite intelligence and genius. We absolutely do. We do. We do. We do. Yes, we do. We're going to change this planet. We're going to make sure that we do not put missiles in our planet and blow her up. We are going to create gentleness and creatorhood and divinehood so that the children wake up excited every day, not negative and staying in their rooms all day long. They're going to come out and they're going to want to be a part of the world. They're going to want to be a part of creation. They're going to want to get excited about who they are, and they're never going to say that they are small. They are going to be profound and large in their character, and they will say no when it means no, and enough when it is enough, because they believe in who they are, and they're not going to be squashed. Why would we want our children to be squashed in their voice to conform to a lower vibration of limitation and fear? Why would we want that? We don't. We want our children to rise and be their best and to live their best life, to see them living their best life in their highest health. That's what we want, the alignment of their highest and best. That's what we want for ourselves. That's what we want for all life, to be free and liberated in light, to explore, to express, and to experience all that they are in all ways. That's how bold you are. You've got this in the choices of how you evolve in the most densest of creations, steeped in the manifestations of lack of self, of fear, of limitation, of separation, and only the most profound can face it. So many beings couldn't come here. They wanted to so badly, but it was just too tough of a ride, especially on this creational level, where you're going from 3D to 5D, clearing 51% of your karma in one lifetime. I've been fully awake, no understanding about ascension for 15 years. 15 years, I've cleared a whole whack of lifetimes. 15 years. And there's been some say that clearing only 1 or 2 could have been enough, just enough. So you think how profound this is, that your ancestors are saying, wow, you've got this. We're going to support you every step of the way. You got so much help. You got so much help. But it has to be your action. You got to be pure of intention. I purely want to change, Spirit. Your pure intention is the action of all change. Your pure intention is the portal to 5D. Your joy and pure intention is you of you. It comes no other way. You can't get it through a mental dialogue. It has to be your pure intention through the heart. That's why the mental programs will drop and you go drop right down to your heart, because that is ascension. You cannot get through ascension without your heart. You just can't. So get heart activated. Get in touch with who you are. Get intimate with who you are. Be intimate with your ascension cycle. Get loving with who you are at the heart level. And make no mistake, your heart is the portal of all that is. Make it real, make it real, make it real. Put your heart into everything. When you are passionate, you're gonna fly, you're gonna soar. Every day I get up and I'm just passionate, man. Let's do this, Spirit, let's do this. Passion, passion, passion. That's when you wake up. This is who I am. I'm meant to be this way, Spirit. Give me a platform. Let me help, Spirit. That's your pure intent, and Spirit and the 10 other beings that are with you on the highest conscious level. This one's asking for help. This one's asking for help. This one wants to get in there. This one wants to get in there. And the heavens will arrange things for you. Convergence on the highest level, make no mistake about that. Again and again and again, they speak of miracles, for they are the action of Spirit, meeting you at equal measure. I wrote about it in all my books. It's the most fascinating experience when you are connected and threaded with Source, and Source says, I am with you every step of the way, girl, go for it. For this planet needs divine feminine. Step up and say, divine feminine, we're meant to be at that creational story. So what's your story? It's not a failure. Are you kidding me? You're the most brave of them all. Stand up and own it. Own who you are. And allow the children to see you feel so empowered and inspired to be you. Are you inspired by your name? Be inspired. Don't wait for nobody to be inspired for you. Rely on nobody. You are the inspiration of you. What is your story? Call it forward. The most messiest of messes, call it forward. And I say, I will change this today, and I will stand in my power of it.
For this is my soul story, and I will ring my name through creation. And forever unto eternity I will ripple through creation. For these are my truths, and my truths are deserving to be told. And whoever shall share them in this truth, so too they shall be inspired through their own truth, because there is oneness in it. Of it we are one. That is the oneness story. In every challenge we are one. In every success we are one. In every liberation we are one. In every subjugation we are one. And we're bringing it forward to a new day so that our children don't have to face it ever again. That is transcension, dear lighted ones. Every moment make a new choice, freedom and liberation. That's your soul story. Transcension, transmutation, changing it, shifting it, evolving it. We're masters. Profound. We are coming against the most steepest of manifestations, the densest manifestations we've created. It's going to come out. More and more dense limitations are going to come out. And we got to face it with the multidimensional, we've got to face it with the most multidimensional, profound leadership and masterful skills and ambassadorialship that we can to say, we got this, Spirit. If we created that density over eons, we got this, and we can heal it with the highest profound heavens. We're going to make heaven on earth. Absolutely, we will. Every day we'll get up. That's my promise. Heaven on earth, I seek it. Heaven on earth, I create it. Heaven on earth, I speak it. And I will speak it as I am. And my name will ring true, and every cell in my body will feel it. I am healthy. I am the creatorhood. I am who I am. And watch me sing. Watch me soar. I am that I am. I create my reality. I am that I am. I am supported. Convergence now. In the most profound way, we face it with honor, and we bless it, and we feel the way to it through all darkness, through all messes. It is a beautiful piece of your existence. And why would you ever deny it? No matter how challenging and traumatic it is, forgive it, accept it, forgive it, accept it, forgive it, accept it, make it whole, because in that making of it whole, your heart space and your heart experience and that portal of you just washes away everything that was. And it makes the healing just like that. You peel off those layers just like that, and those stories just disappear just like that, and it becomes just a figment of the imagination, and spirit washes it away. And your wounds become less and less, and you become more powerful in that love. Spirit meets you always, equal measure. That is the equal law of the universe. It's equal, it's a law, it is a truth. Spirit will match you equally. Spirit never says, oh, you didn't do it right that time. No, you didn't put enough into it. No. Spirit will meet you equal measure. It's about your pure intention. Always was and always will be pure intention. God brings you the darkness through you. Remember, you and God are one. You make that story. You say, okay, God, we're going to co-create parts of this and parts of that, and I'm going to see my best through all these lessons. I'm going to be as conscious aware as I can to make better choices and better choices myself, because I love myself. The more I love myself, the better choices I make. The more I value myself, the better choices I make. The more I love my body, the better choices I make. And there's going to be messes along the way, right? So there will be darkness to transcend. There just has to be, because we're coming from 3D. Gives you this in knowing that you got this. Only the most brave, my sweet ones. For not all souls will choose to face the deceit, or they'll choose to face the illusions, or they will choose to face the ill-gotten gains, through which was thought of all that you wanted, and you were told that you wanted, or it was told of who you were. For you are learning a far grander lesson. And this is the resilience of the universal belonging, that through all times and through all moments, you have the choice to belong new. You have the choice to belong again. I belong now. I'm making changes across the omnipresent. I'm making changes across the universe. I'm going to choose to belong now, because that story is not a story of belonging. That's a story of separation. And now I belong. Now I belong. Now I belong. And I'm a part of this universe, and I'm healing universal timelines because I belong, and I make it one, and I forgive. You're omnipresent creators. And how you offer yourself in a new story of creation in your full knowing. That's consciousness, your full knowing. I now know who I am. I'm going to be a conscious creator now. That's creating consciously at your heart level. I'm going to choose this choice that is not going to affect other people. It's not going to harm anyone. That's living in your highest and best and serving the greater good. That's goodwill to all, divine order to all. When you're no longer stepping on or impeding or pulling on the right use of free will of others. That's when you're making the highest conscious choices, especially in challenging and difficult situations. That's why many of us have gone through such challenging and traumatic, difficult situations, because we're going to be helping resolve global issues. And those issues need to be done from the heart space of the greater good of all. When you're leaving people of a global scale in communities, politicians that we obviously see many things that could be improved upon with politicians, because when they're thinking of the highest and the greatest good, why would they ever launch a missile? Why would missiles even be created on a planet of love and unity and harmony? on a planet that supports us with gracious and generous for eons. Why would we ever create missiles? Why would we? How does launching a missile create peace? Saying that we're one. We're one. Here's a missile. We want better for ourselves. We want higher vibrational consciousness, do we not? For our leaders? For our leaders to say, war is never an option. Never an option. We will be supported across all heavens and all universes for peace. Make no mistake about that. And what leader knows that? What leader do you know on the world stage that speaks of universal entanglement? What leader speaks of that? What leader is so brave to speak of, there will never be war? For we are created at all levels, on all levels of creation. Every human being is created infinitely, eternally through peace. Spirit will support peace. Spirit will support peace on all levels, in every way. Make no mistake about that. And what leader is brave enough to say that? Do you know what kind of statement that instills into the people? Wow. We have spiritual support. We have, like, and we say spiritual outside of religion, but also included in, because it's all one, it's all true, it's all the same. Divine, heavenly, benevolent evolution is the benevolence of all life. The benevolence of all life, does that not make sense? That if a leader of people, the benevolent greater good of people, the greater good of the land that grows the food for the people, the greater good of the land and the air that breathe the air and drink the water of the people, that a benevolent leader would come forward in absolute knowing of the threadedness of all creation, regardless of political laws that say anything about dogma, because it has nothing to do with dogma. It's universal truth and law. Universal law. We are supported in absolute peace. Multidimensional to the highest of the heavens, 13th, 14th, 15th dimension of intelligence, of the all creator, of galaxies, of pulsars, of quasars, of the universe, multiverse omnipresent. We are supported in peace. We are supported in the highest healing capabilities. We are supported in the highest capabilities of love, oneness, and unity. Why would we not want to say that and be that and live that and own that and claim that? Because it would create peace. And in peace, there's no chaos for competition. There's no chaos for getting. There's no chaos for less than. There's no chaos for fear or greed or illness. No, peace is peace. We're supported in all ways through the heavens. And the heavens are many dimensional beings from all facets: ETs, celestials, angelics, ascended masters, elementals, fairies, gnomes, orders of Melchizedek, orders of the councils of light, the galactic federations, the star councils, federations and committees of the holographic union of light. All that is consciousness of Christ. Christ consciousness outside of religion, but also including it, is the Metatronic light of who we are as light, science and spirit physics. We are that of eternal life. Wouldn't it make sense that we're always supported in light? So who and how would we ever not think that we're not supported in peace? And why are our leaders not saying that first? For would that not instill the highest vibration of, oh, we can relax now, our bodies can get healed? Wouldn't we want to have that for our people? When we say you are supported in peace to the highest degree, and we have leaders that are now saying it, we have leaders that are now stepping up on stage and now saying that, it's a universal law. We're supported in peace. So let's start restructuring what we know to be law and order. Let's start restructuring what we know to be about medicine. Let's start restructuring what we know to be about education. Because we are supported in the highest of vibrational experiences, and we are human potential and infinite potential of spirit. No mistake about that. As your DNA awakens, boom, you got access to your 7th DNA of Pleiadian. That's why we're here, people. We are here to evolve beyond limitation and fear. We got this. We got this. And those of us that are meant to be with people at collective levels, we are here to say, in absolute truth, universal law, you will be supported in peace, in wellness, in harmony, and balance of who you are as spirit, to the equal measure of your pure intention. That's truth, absolute truth. Every master taught it. Every master offered it. And so too are each of you. That's why you're here. You are worthy, and God will comply in such discoveries. When you bring yourself up from the ashes, only you have you to thank, for it is only you that can bring yourself through it. It is only you in your own self-reflections and your own sharing and your empowering of others to share in the believing of oneself and one another as you can do and bring yourselves to a new collective evolution, that you're no longer hanging on those limitations and those fears. What are you hanging on to? There's nothing to fear. Let it all go. Let the tower fall and face the mess. You got it. Make something good out of it. Can't get away from it. Can't escape it. Spirit will keep throwing it back to you until you get the lesson. Whatever end you're on, Spirit will keep throwing it until you accept it. Spirit will keep throwing it at you until you take part of it. Spirit will keep throwing it at you until you say, I got this. Spirit's going to keep bringing it to you. Spirit's going to say, I know who you are. Do you? And I'm here to remind you of what Spirit says to me all the time. And I say, Spirit, why do you believe in me so much? You believe there's nobody else here that believes in me that much. What are you doing? So, well, yeah, you're here to be the heavens on earth. You're there to show people that you're going to believe in them just as I believe in you. Because your story is nothing to laugh at. Your story is nothing to be apologetic for. Your story is anything but miraculous and magnificent. So call it forward and share. Because other people are going through the exact same thing. We're the heavens, we see it. We see how many people are struggling. We see how many people that absolutely don't know that they're in an ascension cycle. They absolutely not know how to transmute their illness, their wounds. You're there to show them how to transmute. You're there to show them that they are important. You're there to show them that their name is vibrational, that they do have vibrational clout with Spirit. What leader has spoke about the vibrational clout that each and every one of us have, giving the power back to the people to say, I am here to support peace. You might think of me as a leader. I'm supporting peace as equally as you, because I want it as equally as you. What leaders say that to us? Let's start asking more of our leaders. Let's start asking more of our collective. Our one hearts are connected. Our one hearts are singing to one another every day, every day, every day. We're looking for belonging. Every day we're looking for self-value. And from inside within, it is only from within. You get that? Only from within. You are the only one that gives it to you. So wait for nobody. Wait for nobody. You get your own self-value from within. Start caring for your body. Start caring for who you are as Spirit. Start caring for who you are as this beautiful creator upon earth. And forgive everybody. Forgive every minute. Every minute, forgive and let it go. Let it go. It's not worth hanging on to. Peel out the layers of resentment and anger and pain and let it go. So start sharing your experience and empower others to believe in themselves, as their story is equally important and valued. And nothing is a failure. Get back up and know that you will be met equally. That is the universal law. You will be met equally with the intention and the catalytic physics and science that you are a Spirit. Spirit is alchemy. Spirit is alchemy. The catalyst that you are is alchemy. That is the intention of Spirit. Spirit says, here is a beautiful planet. What will you do with it, humans? Will you awaken to the profundity of who you are? Will you awaken to the knowing that you have absolute control of your health? Will you awaken to that? Will you awaken to the beautiful experiences that lie in your 2022? Will you let go of the limitations? Will you let go of the fear? Will you stand up and own who you are? Will you show your leaders? What a concept. Will we show our leaders? Oh, Spirit. So that you so gratefully offer your children that you want them to care for themselves in the same way. We're showing our children. We're showing our children by example. We are the way showers. We're showing our children by example. Stand up for who you are. Be the expression of who you are. Be the excitement of who you are. Let go of all conformity and limitation. Stand fully in your skin. Stand fully in the body of who you are. And when your voice says no, it means no. So that no other child be trafficked, so that no other child be abused. And everybody hears one another. Everybody is conscious and caring and gentle of one another. And all are sacred to one another. For all life is sacred. Why would Spirit say that life is sacred? That life isn't. All life is sacred. And all voices will be in the first sentence, the first paragraph of our new 2022 creational new earth story. 5D earth. All beings are equal. All life is equal and we are one. That is the first sentence of our creational story. Divine feminine, divine masculine, the sacred child, and all life in between. And this glorious planet that has so graciously and generously kept us from eons. And now it's time to live in sacred honor of all life. All life. And we will be met equally in return. That is the law. Universal law. So that there is no separation when you Can't read my writing. Oh, so that there's no separation or no harm or hurt to another, because you honor in the value of each. All respect is sacred. It is so too for the all. Remember, as you're holding yourself in sacred, so too is for the all. Remember, for the all. So too is for the all. That's why they say things in the ways that they do, because it is encapsulating of what is sacred script. It does so too for the all. For the all. Every leader, the first sentence, for the all. We are all in peace and we will be met in equal measure. For the all. It is my experience to create and inspire peace. And so too it is for the all. And so it is. These are vibrational laws of script. For the all the words are spoken. For the all the love is there. For the all the peace is. For the all your name vibrates in radiance through all creation. For you are a soul that is connected by the pearl of thread. All other aspects of you feel your vibrational excitement to be you. Feel your expression of you. Feel your exploration of you. And all of the soul evolves. All aspects of you, all particles of you, all fractals of you. Call all that you are in every night. All aspects of me, all fractals of me, all belonging of me. I am that I am. I am the sacred script. I am the sacred speech. I am the sacred vessel. My vessel vibrates in unison of love and harmony and peace. And I will sing my story. Nothing to be afraid of. Own it and claim it. Be brave of who you are. You are the credibility of your own strength. Wow, that's profound. You are the credibility of your own strength. So make no mistake about how strong you are and why you're here. Your story is meant to be told. So be brave in your story, dear lighter ones. We're going to do a beautiful light language. And we're gonna let everybody go for this beautiful 2022. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. Let's open up for the divine experience. Thank you, Spirit of all creation. We're calling in the beautiful counsels of light and the beautiful angelic frequencies of the elemental harmonics. Thank you, Spirit, and the elementals. And we're bringing forward the highest benevolence of the greater good for the highest light programs. And those who need to hear the frequencies of their light codes and their healing teams, provide them with exactly what they need, always what they need for that light language, breaking through the density, breaking through the calcium. Thank you for these releases, Spirit. And if you go back to our vibrational video library, there are videos there on how to clear blockages from your chakras. I think it's about 5 or 6 videos back, and there's also videos on the clearing process. And so for those of you that are just awakening and I want to understand the ascension process, all of our videos talk about daily self-care, clearing out and getting intimate with your ascension cycle. Really helps you start to take mastership and mentorship of your own path, and knowing when you have your releases and asking for help in supporting you in your releases and reaching out to community experiences. And those of us that have done multidimensional Akashic and lineage healing, and I'm also a consultant for 5D grid alignment for those, any issue, any socioeconomic experience, whether it's a personal business, a government, or social business, aligning with 5D grids and consultation to that. So you're aligning with the 5D grids and receiving information right from the light programs on what is the highest and the best for the population, for the collective, and what is needed in your area of business. And so those are downloaded right from the heavens and the councils, because obviously they see things far reaching than what we do on this realm. And we can't know what's meant to come forward or how it's meant to come forward. And that's why those divine inspirations help us so much in sustaining and maintaining long-term and longevity to the greater good of the people, and how to redesign businesses in that way. And so I'm here for that assistance and that help. And also to the experience for multidimensional healing through any type of control, anything that has been done through mental, emotional, or vibrational, spiritual manipulation, or spell work, anything like that, and how to heal that with your family, because it does create karma for the family. And that's what people don't understand when they're choosing to create those experiences. They create karma for their family. And so it's not only their individual choice that they think they're hindering someone else or doing something to someone else. That creates karma. Anytime you mess with another person's right use of free will, how they express themselves, how they explore themselves, how they experience themselves, any hindrance on that in any way, mentally, emotionally, physically, or energetically, or spiritually, creates karma. And it is created for the family. And so it's important that our whole world will be rewritten. And there's nothing against spell work when it's done in the benevolence and the right use of free will. There's beautiful magic that is created, and I have many masters, and I have a spirit guide that is a master of spells, and they do the mastery of spell through benevolent work for the greater good, and how to use energy so that it is used and surrendered to the creator for the greater good. And that's why honoring the right use of free will and understanding universal law is a process of learning and understanding, and why I personally have never used spells on anybody. I wouldn't because I understand the universal law, and I would never want that karma for myself. I've always used divine order and greater good, and using benevolent light work. So it's always good to keep in mind and discernment. I know there's so many things out in the YouTube world that you hear about, spell work and things like that. And there are people that use it benevolently, and there's a train of thought of using it to get what you want, whether it's through love or money or anything like that. So when you're using it in just open and receipt of the universal laws, and you understand universal laws, you'll always receive what you're meant to receive. Even if you use spell work for money and things like that, if spirit thinks it's not the highest of relevance for you, and it's not your deepest soul's lesson, you're not going to receive it. That's what most people don't understand. You can do the spell work for whatever you think you want, egoically, but you must understand that if it's not your soul's highest relevance to learn that lesson, it will be held back, because spirit is always in control. Yes, you're a creator with spirit, but there are deeper and more important things for you to learn. And that's what awakening is all about. So that you're a soul consciousness, not just an ego wanting ego things. Because what you think you want is not really what the soul needs. It needs you to self-love. It needs you to self-heal. It needs you to understand that you're a partner in co-creation, and understanding the right use of free will is so powerful. But you got to love yourself first, so that you're not putting those expectations and those vibrational hindrances on anybody else through any type of energy work. Because energy is meant to be used in humility and reverence and humbleness. And that is through spirit. I mean, all the masters, every master that you have ever seen do miracles have been the alchemy of humility and gentleness, understanding the honor of all energy, understanding how you work with energy with great reverence and great humility and great honor. It's an honor to work with energy. And why would you ever want to misuse it and abuse it? Because it does create karma for yourself and your family. And so I personally, have never used it, besides what I've been taught and shown since 15 years of working with energy. And spirit has shown me early on. I remember writing in my first book, spirit, once you think you get cocky and you think you know what you're doing because you have the psychic abilities and things like that, spirit will knock you back down to always keep your ego in check. That's how, spirit doesn't do that purposefully. Your higher self and your soul will. Because your higher self and your soul will say you remain in the center of humility and nobility, so that you're never ever using your gifts out of alignment and abusing your gifts. That's the abuse of power that so many, through eons, we've gone through all of those Atlantis and Lemurian experiences, many other timelines too, of course, many other planets, where that abuse of power was used to harm people through manipulation and control. And of course, again, I experienced this lifetime where that was used. And so I understand the harmful effects. And so that's why I'm coming forward and teaching it. And there's nothing wrong with spell work if it's used for the benevolence to heal and to honor people in the honoring of their benevolent life path. And so if you choose to use spells, let the other person know and say, I'd like to create a healing spell for you. Would you like that? And you need to ask for permission. And so just honor that, honor the right use of free will, because in any use of any type of energy against a person's not knowing, and just to receive what the ego wants to receive, is creating those energetic blocks and hurdles for yourself and karma for yourself you'll have to clear. Because you'll have to ask yourself, why would I want my ego to have will over something else or someone else for me to receive when it might not be in their best interest? So you have to go through all of those layers and find out, why would I want to do those things? Just to get what you get because you're not feeling fulfilled. And again, go within and fulfill yourself, right? To get someone to love you, why would you not just love yourself, right? So you have to go, that's why your teams will just keep keep you in stagnancy until you go within and do those questions. Seek out your own inner shadow, because it's your shadow that says, oh, I'm going to create a spell that makes me want to get people, or make people want to do things for me, and all these manipulations that go on. It's all about control and feeding the ego, when it's really the deepest soul wounds about your not belonging and lack of self and all of those other things that one must heal. Got to heal it. Otherwise, it's just a sick cycle of karma. And it will come back. Everybody will have to face their karma. Can't get around it. So face it and heal the wounds. Right? No way around it. Right? And I'm absolutely, there is a colleague of mine that does spells, and she does it for healing. And so I honor her. But really discern, what the spells are used for, because it does, use discernment. Use discernment. And so energy is beautiful, and beautiful and humble in all that we are as spirit, because we're honoring all moments as spirit and loving in spirit. All is true and all is valid, and we accept all moments in experience, and we navigate with preciousness of who we are as divine energies of being of light. And it allows us to be closer to the ones that lead us. And we ask more of our leaders to use benevolency and love and clarity and transparency in all their leaderships, as we're coming together as a one human collective. And we're standing in the power of who we are, to create sovereignty in our own voice and our own choice, to take ourselves to higher evolution, and to heal our world, and to heal one another through our own brave stories and our own owning of our own stories. And we thank the divine creator to know that all moments are true and real, and all moments allow us to navigate the blessing of the spirit. We are the highest evolutionaries, and we're so excited to be on this planet. Thank you, Holy Spirit. We're calling forward the Lord Michael. Thank you, Lord Michael, and the highest consciousness beings of the angels in the heavens. Thank you, Holy Spirit. You can turn down your computer volume right now, because they're showing me some sounds and some pitches, and they might get high. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm so grateful. Calling forward my soul. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, ancestors. I shishaya na karatiki e titiki shishaya na la karatiki my titiki shishaya na I titiki titiki e titiki e I see na karatiki e shishaya na my titiki shi na not ne my titiki ma ishi ana karatiki titiki my titiki shishaya na karatiki na karatiki na titiki Ascension na karateka, Ascension na makaratiki e na Ascension na karateka. I am tiki laya makai tiki Ascension na karatiki Ascension na karateka tiki Ascension na maya tiki Ascension mamaka Ascension na karateka. Ese si anama ayata the ke she ayata the ka. Ese si ayana na kara the ke she ayana it na ese si ayata the bre ay na ese si ayana ka. Why na titike si titike si And that's the order of Melchizedek. Thank you, Holy Order of Melchizedek. Thank you, highest order of Melchizedek. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you. I see I and anakata the ke shishi anakata the see I and the ke the ke shishi I and anaka So they're just saying this is a collective of beings. From where are you from? Right, TICQRI.
High vibrational beings of love and light, thank you. They're saying it takes bold courage to accept all aspects of your creative collective. And they're showing me that when you are able to face, we hold ourselves in such separation. They're showing me most of our human stories because we see things on screens and we're rarely out in the communities, hands-on with people, and we're at the ground level. If we say, those of us that are on the front lines are always with the people at ground level, and we're going through such things at a human experience to help us stay in touch with those things that we see through our computers or our screens that keep us in separation, to think that that's not really happening to us, it's not really about me. Everything that you see is about you. So what stories do you choose to believe in? Can you choose to create stories of oneness and inclusion and unity, so that in whatever it is that you see, you can quickly change the story and say, how can we create and see the best and the highest in one another, and own what has occurred and create oneness and simplicity and oneness of it. For we are the healers and the masters of creation. We are the masters of unity. For you don't know this and you've never been told this. For you have, let me tell you this, dear lighted ones, it will come as a shock to you. You have come in this beautiful experience of separation to see the things at the most dualistic and polarity experience of who you are, in that equal experience of who you are as the masters of unity. For you can take anything before you, except no one's ever told you, and we're telling you right now. Anything that comes before you, you are the master of unity, to make it oneness and to make it simplicity in love and harmony and peace and balance, for you know how to do it. If you see something in duality, if you see something in polarity, you can absolutely thread an aspect of oneness and simplicity, of harmony and balance in it, for it is there, always there. It has to be, it must be. That is allness and oneness, and who you are, never separate from someone outside of you that you see on your screen, for it is you. Aspects of you that you've called in to say, wow, how is that a part of me? How may I go deeper within this exploration of allness? How may I go deeper within that aspect of me that I thought I judged? For there is no failure. I absolutely call all that I am, and I own it fully and completely. For this is my story, and I will not pass this karma down to my children. I will absolutely own it in oneness. One is all. One is that part that you thought you judged, to bring it in as one and all it always has been. You've just chosen to define it as separate. You've chosen to define it as a challenge. You've chosen to define it as something not you. Absolutely is. Accept all that is. It's you. That's oneness, dear lighted ones. Oneness is not this, but not that. Oneness is not, I like the good parts, just not that part. I must have failed over there, but I'm good here. Oneness is oneness. Acceptance, dear lighted ones. For you are the masters of oneness and unity. Just no one's ever told you. We're telling you right now, you are a master of unity. You are a master of unity. Say it every day. I am that I am a master of unity, for it cannot be that way. It's for me to seek it. There is one in it, oneness and unity in all things. It just is. Always has been. How was I to think that it was separate? Not separate. That's just how I perceived it from the beliefs and the stories and the notions and the vibrational pings that I thought it was. It's not. I am one. I am all. I am that I am. It's all one. We're all one with source. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. And what we create is holy and true. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. It's all valued. I'm so grateful for this beautiful blessing. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I am a katatake shishia we like to game I take sisi I and a she I another katatake ama I shishi I another katatake I and take Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit and the elementals. Thank you, everybody. We love you so much. Links are below for those of you who like to donate. We're going to start our classes in January. I think, yeah, like next weekend is our first master class. We're so excited. Those of you that would like to join us, $44 USD on our master classes. Whatever that Saturday is, we're going to put a post in our comments below. and just link me, just email me with a donation, and we'll put you on the class list, and we'll set you a Zoom link. We love you so much, dear lighted ones. Own your story. It's a beautiful, courageous story. And know that you're learning, you're navigating evolution in every moment. You are navigating in your own evolution. So own it and be of brilliance and make the best that you can of all moments, because you are equally supported in all ways. You just are. It's just universal law. Just know that you're supported, and we love you so much, dear lighted ones. Happy New Year, and we absolutely love you. Bye.